Right, ladies and gents, we're back. It's a chilly one in it, Stoke. It's like bloody -4 in it up here. You can see my breath again. Back on the R32, as you saw, we didn't manage to get it fully converted in 24 hours, but that was a big ask. The main thing is, we got it started, and that's what we wanted really, weren't it? For this episode, really, it's completing the rest of the conversion. That's not all the R32 bumpers and all that bit. It's basically getting the running gear on and sorted, the loom on and sorted, getting it back to a normal car. Then so we can literally drive it. And then we can work on the styling afterwards. But first of all, I'm going to tell you about my week. It's not been a good week because I've been busy. I've been looking, trying to find parts. Some things easy. So, radiator. We needed a radiator because the diesel one didn't fit. Drop links, got them. That's not a problem. Found a bumper, front and rear bumper, great price, local, good condition. Got onto it straight away. Mate, can we come and grab these? We'll have them. Yeah. An hour later, I was at the scrapyard picking them up. What's gone and happened? They'd already sold the bumpers. So I'd wasted this journey over to bloody Birmingham. Gutted, obviously. What's the next thing I do, Stoke?
Found some headlights.
Found some headlights, yeah. Good price, Xenons, because that's what they are in these. I don't even know if we can put the diesel ones back in these.
No, because the diesel ones aren't Xenons.
Yeah, they're just regular bulbs. Yeah. Good price, find them, send them to Stokes. Is these the right ones? Shall I order them? Yeah. Half an hour later, someone's bought them. Third thing, wrap it all up in a nice little bow. The wheels, they needed some work doing, so we thought proactive, so we can get it rolling. We can't put the diesel ones on because the brakes are too big on these. Drop the wheels off to the powder coaters to get them refurbed. Rings me up the day, he strips them down like a few days later, rings me up, mate, your wheels are completely
Scrap. We knew the faces were chipped and we thought he's going to say, but he says, no, I can do this. But then when he stripped it, it's got a massive hole in it.
Me, Dave, Stokes missed it. The bloke missed it when I dropped them off. It weren't until they stripped them down. I'll show you. They caved in.
Yeah.
So basically now we're on the hunt for everything.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. I've got to plod on with the loom, get all that worked, figure out how I'm going to do the back doors, all the lights, everything like that. There's a fair bit to do, so I'm going to do that. We can get the front end built up, we can get the drop links back on. Fingers crossed I can find some wheels and we can get some wheels.
And I've got to put on the prop shaft centre bearing.
Yeah, we've got to do some bits underneath still. We can't get the exhaust on, we've got to cut the wheel well out. Anyway, there's plenty to get on with.
There's loads.
Preferably, mine and Dave's opinion, for now, the Mark 5 R32 alloys, if anyone's got a set of them in decent, okay condition.
If we haven't found any by the end of this episode.
And bumpers and headlights. I know there's some floating about online, but all the ones we can find are nailed. That's why I thought I'd hit the jackpot on these ones I found in Birmingham, but it wasn't to be, obviously.
No.
First things first, the main thing I need to tackle really is this wiring loom. Being daft as we are, we've used a 3-door wiring loom in a 5-door car. We're thinking maybe unwrap the loom that we've got from the existing car, from the estate, basically splice it in or take it back to some module or fuse board where it would attach normally on the 5-door version. And then once I've sorted the doors out, I've got to move on to the boot. Either extend the loom to where I need to extend it to or pull things back and move things around. So it's a pretty big job, but once that's done, that is like the back of this broken. After a few hours of de-peeling a loom and unwinding loads of tape, we think we've finally got it to some understanding. But what I'm going to do a proper job, I've just spoke to our mate who does some caddy conversions.
Big up Van Lab.
Yeah. He's told me, I knew you could get them anyway, but he kind of explained it a bit more to me. I'm going to get a de-pinner tool to de-pin the cables that we need from the estate loom, so I can put it into the R32 loom. And then what I can also do then is properly pin in the rear speakers from the R32 loom into the estate. So I'm going to order that tool, get some pins. He said it's pretty straightforward and he's showing me how you do it. So that's good on that. The only thing that we're having a bit of trouble with, we don't 100% know. There's one cable here and all it is for the central locking for the rear doors. We know where it goes to on the car, but obviously we can't get to this part of the loom in the car.
Yeah, that's all beyond power. It's all beyond the dash.
It's just a positive feed to the central locking, but it's controlled through like a relay. So we're going to scratch our heads and we're going to figure out how we can adapt that into the R32 loom.
Just glue it onto the top of the dash.
Yeah, well that would be nice, wouldn't it? So I can pretty much cut the rear door loom out now of the estate and slowly piece it into the R32. The loom in the doors is estate loom, so that's all ready to go.
Yeah.
So I've just got to add in the new bits. As you know, the estate is longer, but it's actually it's a bit worse than that in some senses, because the plugs for the rear lights are different. So you've got to basically figure out what each one's doing in this plug and wire that into, well, on the R32, and wire it into the estate lights.
Which is that one you've got in your hand?
Yeah, essentially. So I need that plug and I need to wire that into the R32 loom. So the R32 curtain airbags were wired in the back of the boot. On the estate, they're not. They're wired in at the front of the car, individually on each side. So I've got to basically pull that cable back or rewire back around. I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
Whatever's too short, there's a longer piece on the other one.
Yeah,
so we've
got the parts. It's just splicing them together neatly and doing a good job of it.
So we've had a bit of good news. You know, like in the last episode, we were scratching our heads for I don't know how long because it wasn't started on the key. We was having to use a piece of wire to bridge to the starter, and starts on the button.
We were pissing about with relays and cables. And
are you trying to say Jack weren't turning the key further enough?
No. I hadn't pushed that in. I had to just really ram it. Like the plug, the electrode bit is quite far in there, and I unplugged that when obviously we took the engine out, and it just needed a good. It's a bit damaged. It needed a good shove.
So it was literally just not plugged in.
Yeah.
You did say it was something little and stupid.
Yes.
Like yourself.
Is it physics? Is that what we're talking about?
Kind of.
That's not, because that's why the power station is 240,000 volts, and then when you get to your home, it's 240 because it's all. It's got the digits.
What if you live next door to the power station?
Your house blows up.
Get really get 3 eyes.
Basically, if you live next door to the power station,
you don't need a microwave.
No. The power to your house goes 40 mile that way and 40 mile back.
You come from the other power station, from the other side of the country.
I've been chipping away at the interior. Everything that needs to be moved that doesn't actually need a new plug putting onto it or extending, I've moved into position now. So things like the rear door card speakers, obviously they're in a different position between the 5-door and the 3-door. The seatbelt pretensioner sensor, that's in a different position on the 3-door and the 5-door. So I've just been moving all that about. Not that interesting, but it needs to be done, and obviously it takes a bit of time. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see too clearly, but that top right hand pin there is one that I've put in. So I just had a little play around with the crimper, just made sure the connector's the right connector, and obviously it is, as you can see there. There's no cable in it, so it doesn't look quite right, but at least I know I can use those pins. But obviously I've got to wait for the de-pinning tool so I can actually remove that from the other loom.
Don't want to steal Jack's limelight here because
Jack's
this is
done this. So Jack has been working hard on this, right? And he's in here taking all the praise now. Look at the glory hunter here. Look at him.
I'm the only stupidest one to hold with my bare hands these cables onto this 12 volt.
You can't even get an electric shock off a cable. You've chained as a rubber.
They get hot, mate. They get hot when they burn.
It earths you out.
Window
1, window 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how it works.
And I'll just turn the radio down because both the speakers are working as well.
So all I've had to do is basically wire the loom for the 4-door into the loom of the R32. It's been pretty straightforward. I've got some proper crimps. I've crimped it properly so it's in the door plug. What Stokes is doing down here is just holding a 12 volt on.
Got the 12 volt down by the plug, but we didn't want to start chopping and wiring stuff in. But we know now he just needs a 12 volt supply.
Yeah.
I don't want to be premature here, but I reckon you'll get this done before he gets his M3 done.
If you look at here, I've had to pull the whole loom all the way back just to wire in these airbags up here.
Yeah, because they're different.
He's done that as well.
I've had the whole, and the airbags didn't go off, so that's a good sign. All I've got to do now, permanent 12 volt into the what Stokes is doing, and then literally do exactly the same as I've done on the driver's side, on the passenger side, and then we've got doors, windows, central locking, all good, all working. And the good thing is I haven't had to put any joints in really. I've been able to use new pins in the actual door plugs.
You bought a few bits of kit, haven't you?
So it's actually factory. That's how it would be done in the factory.
You're VW Jack, aren't you?
Well, I don't want that title.
Any more in his shoes, speak to Jack, DM him.
Yeah, mate, I know what everything does now. Right, Stokes, shall I explain the little conundrum we just had?
Yes.
I thought this is something you'd know. This is like a little Einstein thing. I widened the power permanently on the two rear door looms into the front door looms, and we thought we'll do the one side and we'll check everything again before we start doing everything permanently. So we start messing with all the switches. Everything's working mint. Look, central locking, I can't show you, but windows, everything, all good. The one thing that doesn't work is the rear doors don't tell you when they're open for some reason. It's probably another switch, I don't know. Anyway, messing with the door mirror switch. Do it to left mirror, sweet. Do it to right, both mirrors start moving. I'm thinking, what the hell have I done? I've wired something to the wrong thing and I've got two circuits mixed up. Pissing about for ages. Me and Stokes are like taking the R32 door card apart. Turns out it's a feature of...
It's a feature of the Golf.
Mark 5 and Mark 6 Golfs, for some reason, when you do the right-hand mirror to adjust it, it does both mirrors.
Apparently what it is, so if another driver gets in, they move the mirror, it will, because it does the opposite, it doesn't copy, it does the opposite on the other side, so it will adjust the mirror technically very slightly.
Yeah, I've never known that.
And we told this Dave just after, and he went,
said,
yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. So the good thing is, taking the time has paid off basically.
Yeah.
All the mirrors work. I don't know if the heated mirrors work, I'm sure they do. I don't know how you set it.
You have to...
Actually, that's a separate switch. Put your hand on it, see if it warms up. Right, Stoke, you remember the palaver we had with these wheels?
Yeah, not
Well,
mate.
we've done loads of searching around. What we're going to try and do, I'm going to keep my eye out for one wheel that's available, and then later down the line, I think we might just refurb them all together and put them on, perhaps.
New tyres and all that.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we found some genuine, non-genuine BBS wheels. They were local to us. They were 350 quid, I will say. They are replicas, I think, as far as we can tell. We thought they might be real, but I think 350 for a set of BBS wheels with tyres is probably wishful thinking, isn't it? They've seen better days. They need refurbing themselves. I think he's been hugging curbs and that in them.
He's a curb hugger.
Yeah, the tyres are all...
I think what other thing is what makes it worse, he had curb rash guard protectors.
It was curbed under the curb guard.
And then it's left, as you can see...
like a black residue all over everything, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, these are only temporary, just so we can get it off the ramp, basically, and move it around until we find a new one for that. If they were genuine BBS and they were in mint condition, we might keep them.
I mean, get in the comments, we haven't tried these yet, these might not fit.
But the good thing about these as well, they're a different offset to the standard ones, slightly wider, so they should look quite nice.
I think they're slightly wider.
Yeah, I don't think by much, probably half an inch or whatever, but they're going to do us temporarily anyway. I think all the tyres wouldn't get to an MOT anyway.
We might love them and go, actually, do you know, we prefer these over the R32 Alloys, but we were trying to keep it as R30.
Stock as possible, yeah. So we're going to try them on now, lower everything down on the floor, see how it looks.
These are the brackets for the prop, centre prop bearing. What was left on the old R32. So I've got them off, literally. I thought they were spotted, because everything seems to be spotted on a car nowadays, but these are not. They literally had a bit of weld down the side. Got the grinder, chisel, knocked them off. So what we've done, whack the prop up, and then we just push that up, and as you can see, we've marked now where that goes onto this.
And it sits flush, doesn't it, with the actual...
Yeah, all the proper plates will all fit in the tunnel. Like I said, it seems a bit of an afterthought where they just plonk them on and they tack them up with a welder. So what we're going to do, get them off now, clean off where we've marked, and then we can just do that again, push it up with this bolt up and tack it all up and get it all welded in. I've
got the prop mount welded in. We've put a bit of primer on it and a bit of seam sealer on. We're just waiting for that to go off, and then we're going to give it a once over with a bit more primer. While that's doing that though, we also realised we did up all the prop bolts, but we haven't put the heat shield back on, so that's great. Anyway,
that's going on in a sec when that's
yeah,
going.
I'm going to take the spare wheel out now. We don't know how we basically introduced that boot floor into this because it is different. Everything's in a different position. The only real way to do it probably would be to unspot everything, but the problem is on this, you've got like an extra support, haven't you, that's on the back of here, which is in a different position and is a different shape from the R32 one. So even if you unstitched it, I don't know if it's going to go back in.
We've looked over it, and that boot floor would not work in this boot floor.
No, and the problem we've got, the battery sat in this tray on the R32, something like that, but obviously in that position, so we can't even put this battery tray in the same way, I don't think.
I think we could, because how that sits like that is basically that bit there.
What we're going to do for now anyway is basically we're going to just cut out enough that allows us to get the exhaust through.
Yeah.
And you'll notice on this has got like a weird little hump on the back. I don't know why, because the wheel doesn't even come that far into the back. But there's two things that causes a problem with.
That's for where you put loads of stuff when you go abroad.
Oh yeah, hiding stuff. So this car didn't have a rear crash bar on because it had a tow bar fitted. It had like a custom rear crash bar that the tow bar fitted to. The R32 one, which is around there, fits, but because of that hump, you can't bolt it on. So
didn't Fergie make a song about them?
Yeah, so I'm not sure what we're going to do about that just yet, but what we're going to do anyway, get this wheel out, and we're going to cut down, I would say probably, we're going to do it properly, but whereabouts that black line starts, about the same distance down all the way around, I know it's all wonky on there, and cut that out for now.
And then our theory is, we don't know if it's going to work yet, if we cut, say, the middle part out, we could potentially put this bottom bit back up to that, so that brings it out and it keeps kind of a, because that one had a kind of a spare wheel after the spare wheel, didn't it?
It did, and it kind of didn't. It was like raised in the boot. It's weird.
It's going to be...
It's different.
Yeah. It's going to be trial and error, isn't it? That's what we're going to do. We was trying to work out how to mark down or mark up and get... We was going to follow this kind of sound deadening, but as you can see, it runs... I think we fitted that previously, and this was new.
Must have been a Friday when that was done.
We thought, what can we do? Drop the wheel and use the wheel as a guide.
Yeah, this is the space saver from the...
I scare myself. I scare myself sometimes.
Well, you scare me when you got a grinder and a spare wheel as your guide, but...
Let's see what happens.
See what happens. Breaker.
If we just rip the car off?
No, made it better. Lighter.
Right, let's see if this exhaust fits.
After taking the prop off about 4 times, we're finally ready for this.
We forgot one heat shield, then there was another. There's heat shields on heat shields and prop shafts on prop shafts. I think we can put the back box on.
Yeah, and see how it fits.
And see what we're working with. You know, you have panoramic roofs. This is a panoramic floor.
There you go.
You know, like glass bottom boat?
Glass bottom mistake.
Yeah, just don't put your shopping in the boot, whatever you do, you leave it in the car park.
It's a bit short, isn't it?
So, this bracket here...
Technically needs to be that far
but
back.
that won't, you know we were saying earlier, that will bolt to there, it won't, because it's in the wrong place. Yeah. Tailpipes are obviously too short, that they need to be like out here. So, we said at first we'll extend the tips, but then one of us come up with an idea of cutting, I think it was Jack, and then it was Dave, and then whatever. Cut it here, extend it back. Yeah. We thought then that would then bolt to that, but it doesn't. We could revert back to extending the tailpipes, because that doesn't technically line up. So when we put our new boot floor in, we could just riv nut, or put a plate in here and riv nut that on, riv nut that into the boot, and extend the tips. So we don't have to cut the exhaust.
Should we extend your tip, alright?
Can do.
So we're going to shorten the cut for the spare wheel well.
Yeah, I think
because it's fouling at the moment, isn't it?
I think we need to take about 10 mil off this, and then we've got an idea what to do with that. We'll get the boot floor bit sorted first, and then I think the mounting. You can't leave it on a piece of wood, can you?
Just drive around with that on.
Get roller skate from the bottom. Or we just tie the exhaust to the boot.
And open the roof. Yeah, open the lid.
Yeah. Trap it in the, put some rope over that, trap it in the boot.
Yeah, come on, let's not get into your silly ideas anymore. We're going to do doing this prop. Well, Jack's doing this properly. It's his little baby, this is.
Stokes took over.
I ain't. It's just you needed some stuff sorting, so you know, I've stepped in.
When you bid the horn in this, yeah, back's going to fly.
The indicator's flash. So, been exhaust inspecting, and obviously that's the mounting point on the estate, and we're going to quickly run over to the R32, and they've got like nice little
Little brackets.
They're almost
made,
like the prop shaft.
yeah. They will mount there. Come to the conclusion now with the exhaust, like we just said, them brackets are going to fit to the side of this rear chassis leg how they are fitted on the R32. That is technically fitted in the same place on the R32.
Yeah. So it means the tips will line up centrally as well, won't it?
Yeah.
It's a good guide.
Yeah. And then obviously we've got this bracket here which obviously goes into the wheel well of the R32, which we haven't got, but what we're going to do, the other thing is we've trimmed this out now.
Yeah, it's looking good, looking factory.
It looks factory, mate. And we're going to extend the tips. That's what we've come to the conclusion with. But we need to get all the back bumper on to chop then to extend that.
Yeah, that's going to be done at a later date.
Yeah.
But if we extend the tips now, we can keep the exhaust on and actually drive it. Yeah. If we cut everything, we're going to be
So the idea is, I need my steps really, but we're going to drop this in here. So it tapers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When it gets to the bottom, it tapers down. Saying that, because we were going to leave some on, we could bend it out at the top and potentially hammer that in. If you cut like slits in that, that would hammer in. So that was our idea, is drop this wheel well back in. That gives us a new wheel well again.
I think what we're going to do is glue it and rivet it in.
Yeah,
and
glue and rivet that in.
Then we'll seam seal it and...
Riv nut, or put some bolts in here for that exhaust to sit. So we've got the one bit welded up.
Yeah,
then,
one exhaust hanger's on.
and then this is where this sits on the bottom here. So our theory is, this may work, it may not. We're going to bend this back, cause that's kind of the depth, and then cut off the excess or whatever. That should lay into that. Let's bend some stuff and see what happens.
That's pretty fucking good, that is, mate.
I think you've got to just trim that there.
We've got our little piece all cut up, ready to go and cleaned up on the other side, ready to glue. We know where we're going to go inside the boot area. And also just give a little guide where the battery tray is going to go. If you see that green line,
Literally follows down here like that.
and obviously that is that battery tray. But we're going to try and get it in the same position as it was on the R32, just for easy sake.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to put this like Tiger Seal sealant stuff in, bond that in. We're going to rivet it in, but obviously I'm not going to Tiger Seal where the batteries go in. And then once that's in, we can then cut the battery tray out, drop that in, hopefully. What the problem is, the battery's got to go in the boot, but we don't want to. We want all the boot to go back nice, don't we?
Yeah, because we can then cover it back up with all the proper bits and stuff.
Because if not, we're going to have a battery box in the boot. It's a bit.
If we have to, we have to,
track
but-
spec that, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to try this and hopefully it'll work.
Floor is halfway in.
It's fixed in, but it needs tightening up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To make it look nice.
Exhaust is fitted onto its hanger.
Nice and sturdy. Level. Now we've got to cut the battery tray in.
And hopefully that then fits. It will be nice if it does.
We have a look at your Picasso.
Have a look at my Picasso, yes, Dave. I can't even say that word. So, I've got to make a bit of a kind of plate here because we've got a bit of a, gap.
You shouldn't just finger any holes, you could get reported.
There's a hole here as well. So I've made a little cardboard template and I'm going to kind of make sure and cook like that.
Got an old B cannon?
Heart attack. Do you know what he died from? He had an heart attack.
You look like the head.
Your dad, that is. Your dad's the head.
No, that's really good, mate. We've obviously showed you all this, all the boot floor. As soon as obviously we're going to put some sound deadening all over that, you're going to seal it all and everything, and it will look OEM, won't it?
Stone chip it all, and it's going to look all right.
The Vaggers are going to love it, aren't they?
And obviously I've glued this in now, but I've bolted it. These bolts obviously tighten down there. Yeah, so that will look, you know, caution and all that business is going to be all on it, legit.
OEM.
I'm going to leave that for now because I'm going to let all that go off.
We're going to go and get on the drive shaft to put a drive shaft bolt in that our mate Nath has donated to the cause.
Yes. Lab. Hopefully then we can then potentially drive this out of this unit.
Say we're going to let the main man down there drive his absolute baby out, innit?
Right, we've come to the end of another episode. We've got a load more done on this car that we wanted to do, haven't we? Yeah. As you can see, we pulled it outside, so it's running and driving. So that's a big step.
To some degree.
To some degree, but that's mint, isn't it?
No,
it's all fours, finally.
We've bled up the brakes, bled up the clutch.
Yeah, mate, it's getting there. Literally, I know we keep droning on about this rear loom, but that's next on the agenda.
Right, whilst Jack ties in the boot, like we've got these wheels, which I think, with a bit of lowering springs. Oh, it's like a little dinosaur.
If I get rid of these things.
Yeah, I've got to fabricate a bit there, and like I said, there's that little hole there what I've got to fabricate up. But Dave, get down here. You can see the shotgun tips, can't you?
Well, shall I give them a little bit of a...
Yeah, fire it up, mate.
First time, every time, that.
It purrs.
Don't go wild, you nutter.
Bit of smoke.
Fucking hell.
Is it diesel, this?
I mean, I shouldn't let it warm up too much because
it's got no water in. So are you happy with the progress, lads?
I'm happy, yeah. We're still on a hunt for cosmetic parts, basically.
Yeah, so if anybody who's watching this has any sort of R32 bits,
side skirts, front bumper, lights, all that, steering wheel,
rear bumper, rear bottom,
interior,
bumper, interior. We want the wing backs.
Have you basically got a 4-door R32?
And to that kid who said that this ain't a V6, I know technically they're not a real V6. I understand that, but it says it right there.
Yeah, it is a VR6, though. We'll say that.
Jack, where's the R?
Jack,
don't mate, if you're a vagger now, you need to know.
Don't slag the vag community off when you're going to be Sunday vagging.
Please like,
follow,
subscribe.
I don't normally do this bit, Dave, does it?
And comment.
Like, comment, follow and subscribe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do all those things. And we'll see you next week. Dave's got some new bits for you.